Welcome to Pinball Mayhem. My name's Jeremy Ajima, and today we're going to talk about adding extra remote speakers to your jukebox, like this Seeburg UCS or Universal Column Speaker. It's a real beauty. This is part one, where I'm just going to kind of go over the basics of it. I am not an audio engineer or an electronics expert, so be sure to read your manual and understand that when you do add something to your jukebox that it didn't originally come with, there's always the risk of something bad happening. Especially if you're dealing with something like this that was made in, what do we got, 1967? And, you know, if that amplifier were to happen to have all original components in it, you know, a little extra stress could cause some issues. But what I'm going to go over is pretty straightforward stuff. We're not going to really stress out the amp. But I welcome your comments, and there's going to be a lot of discussion and variance of opinion, and that's okay. I welcome it. But just remember to be careful, read the manual, ask questions, and now let's get started. So why would you want extra speakers on the jukebox? It's certainly powerful enough to fill the room with sound. My reason is I wanted more even sound throughout the room. I wanted this room to feel like when you're cranking it, you got a really big pair of headphones on, and when you're not cranking it, no matter where you are in the room, you hear the sound, you hear the stereo separation, and that works out really good for me. Another reason is if you had multiple rooms, like if I wanted some speakers upstairs, I could easily do that. So there's definitely some good reasons for doing it here. And then I got another speaker buried back in the corner here. But wait, I've got speakers set up all throughout this room, and they're all balanced really nice. Let's get into some detail. Say you got some sweet speakers like this you want to hook up to your jukebox. You can do it! These are really cool, but they are not jukebox speakers. They're just cheapos, but they've got this awesome light organ in them. What I was talking about reading the manual is definitely get some paper book for your jukebox. It's really handy to have instead of always running to the internet to download a file or something. But in there should be diagrams and examples of installations. These are going to be more technical, and they're going to sway you toward the brand of accessory speakers that jukebox companies offer. But most jukeboxes, you can hook up additional speakers, and they don't have to be like, for example, Seeburg speakers. They don't have to be like that. There's also multiple ways to connect stuff, which is really cool. Same thing with like this more modern Roll R91. You know, it's got just some really good information in here about how to set some stuff up, and I kind of like the way the R91 does it because they've got a separate deal with the output transformers here. Makes it a lot simpler. But let's go over to my example over here. For just the basics, we're just going to gloss over this stuff, and in my second video I'm going to go over it in more detail. If anybody has any questions or anything you want me to specifically cover, let me know. For this is a Seeburg high power amplifier, but other Seeburg amps are similar. I also looked at some Row and Rockola and AMI, and they all have similar type of things. Usually it's screw terminals with a couple different choices, and we've also got a different way of hooking up speakers, which is CV or constant voltage, or also 70 volt that can be called. But we'll get into that in the second one. We're not going to deal too much with that. For this example, we've got output transformers which help protect the amplifier and also give you more choices as far as adding extra speakers go. Because we've got the output transformers, there's sort of multiple taps here. We've got our ground on this example, and then we've got actually output watts, 50 watts per channel. I'm just going to show you another setup over on my Satellite juke. We'll get in here, and this is the output transformer for this guy, and that is similar stuff. You can see on the right we got a numbered terminal, 0 through 5, 0 is ground, and on the left we've got the 70 volt line. Here's a picture of the output transformer on my Rockola CD jukebox. This has a really big 300 watt amplifier in it. As you can see, it's got a lot of wires connected to it, but that's kind of the same sort of deal. Higher power on one end, lower power on the other, and you just balance it out. Okay, I've set up a little demonstration here. Just a little example to show you the basics of it. Of course, like I mentioned before, be sure to read the manual and study it. And if you hear any distortion after hooking up these speakers, you need to step back, take a look, see what you did. Right now, this speaker over here represents the jukebox speaker. We've got one wire going to ground, one wire going to the high tap on here. We want to add extra speakers, and in this example I'm going to say that the manufacturer recommends that we move down the jukebox speaker to a lower tap and hook in our other speakers. Alright, so we're going to move it down one. And our next tap is 16. And we got, on this particular example, we got 50. So that's 50 watts. We moved down to 16. So we got plenty of extra wattage to spare for this particular exercise. Here is our ground from our other speaker. On this example, we hook it up to a ground. Now on this one, we could hook it up to the same wattage and we'd be okay. But if it's too loud, or if it's in another room that it's too loud, we can move it down. That's the really great thing about having an output transformer. It has options. So let's say we'll put it on the one tap because we got it in the side room or something and we don't want it very loud. And that's it. You just play your jukebox, test out, make sure it works good, test the heat sinks, make sure nothing's getting too hot, and you're good to go. Alright, and there you have it. If you got any questions, please let me know. Any comments or questions that I get for this video are going to help me shape and construct the next video, which we're going to go into more detail on some of the other more advanced options, or if you have specific jukebox remote speakers, there are a couple ways to hook those up. Thank you very much for watching, and rock on!